Forget it. All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to our Online Learning Hub webinar series. Today, we are going to be featuring two presenters. We have Becky Gibney presenting and also Dana Vermelia presenting. We know Becky, she's been here for a while if you've been to webinars. Dana is one of our tech staff, and she specializes also in assistive technology. And that is going to be the focus of the presentation today. Just a few reminders. The microphones will be remained off because of feedback issues until the question and answer time, but at any time during the presentation, just go ahead and enter your questions into the chat and we will address them as they come up or at the end. This session will be recorded, so if you did miss it, you do get a chance to view it later, or you can have your friends view it later too if you want to let them see it. With that in mind, we encourage everybody to keep their cameras on for the entire session to help foster community and human interaction, but if you do not feel comfortable because it is being recorded, you can turn it off. At the conclusion of the webinar today, we will send a feedback form in the comments there, and we really ask that you fill that out for two reasons. One, it gives us direction as to how we are doing, and two, it provides a record that you were here today if that information is ever needed. So we will post this at the end, and with that in mind, I'm going to turn it over to whichever one of you is going to kick us off to take us away.
I will share my screen here. So the presentation link is in the chat over there. There we go. So we're going to do a taste of assistive technology. So for today, we are your hostesses with the mostesses, even though I know mostesses is not a word, we just like to have fun. So I am Rebecca Gibney, and I am the Curriculum and Online Learning Specialist at the IU, and I do a lot of the STEM and innovation plus teacher leadership trainings. And Dana, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, I'm Dana Vermelia. I'm one of the TAC staff. I do a lot of assistive technology in the north, telepresence learning with the robots through the whole IU. I'm also a speech therapist, and I do a couple other projects with the TAC, the Brain Steps team and the Pathway to Graduation project. The disclaimer is if my internet doesn't cooperate, I apologize.
There we go. So we would like to welcome you to Tasty Technology. Today, you're going to be getting your first helping of this delicious assistive technology tools that we have to offer. We're hoping that in the future, we'll be able to offer this as your second helping, third helping, and so on. Today, we're going to go through 4 courses, so we hope that you're hungry. Our first one is going to be Project Management Punch Bowl, and that will feature our YouTube features. Nacho Normal Writing with Dana. She's going to talk about some Google features. Deep Fried Fluency with Dana. Read and Writing with Google. And Productivity Potato Platter. I'll be showing you how to use Google Keep and how you can use it as some checklists. And then we have treats to go. So we hope you are hungry. We are going to be going back and forth, toggling between the presentation and then walking you through some of the different things. Live time. So the first thing on your menu is Punch Bowl, and that is going to be YouTube. Now, at first when I was teaching, I taught Spanish at Loyalstock, and we used to do like Spanish music videos, and I always thought, oh, YouTube, it just, press play and then it goes. Until my kids taught me the feature of slowing down. And I think that it's really important that when you're dealing with some students, yes, they have the power right now to stop, restart, replay, things like that, but you can actually slow down the speed and the subtitles, change the font, change the background color. And so what I'm going to show you here is on my screen, I have a video from one of at the online hub here. And so if I click CC here, and you might know this one already, but the subtitles, to turn on the subtitles for students. And this goes back to the presentation with Scott when you're doing your webinars, or not webinars, screencasting. If you missed that episode, it is on our online learning hub, but we can teach you how to do some screencasting. If you upload it to YouTube, you have these options where you can put your captions on, and say they speak another language, for example, Spanish, if you're ELL or something. we have, you can do auto translate, and for the most part, it's pretty good at picking up the language. Some other features with the subtitles, and I had it earlier, you can go to options and you can change the font, the color, the font size. So if you need a larger text, so I could change it, to 150 to 200, anything like that. So,
until the
fonts can be there. I'll turn it down a little bit. Now, if I wanted to slow it down, the playback speed, the smaller the number, the slower it goes. Now, I don't know, can you guys hear the screen or no? Yes? Okay. So if I slow it down to 0.5, oops, now you probably can't.
So
this is really slow.
Could show your face.
So it really slows it down for students to comprehend a little bit and process it if they're maybe slower at processing. So that is YouTube. If you have any questions with YouTube, you can put it in the chat and we'll catch it during the question and answer. But I'm going to turn it over now to Google Features with Dana. Not show normal writing. Go ahead, Dana.
So we just want to touch base on a couple of the Google features that are built right in for different students that might be supportive for them. I'm going to start sharing my screen where it'll get voice typing, the styles that you can use, just the regular Zoom on there, and your dictionary. So I'm going to stop Becky's screen share. Start mine. Obviously, just change your site to remind students, even for some of our younger kiddos, if you're working on letters or something, just if you're doing a screen share now, to zoom in, or students with visual impairments. Styles is really important for those folks with visual impairments or anybody that's using any kind of screen reader. If we go in format and we go to paragraphs and styles, you might have always wondered what the purpose of these were. But if I go, I can apply a title, and that can be anything, that might be your head title. And then when they use that screen reader, they can, it will recognize that as a title so that it reads it to them differently or indicates to the learner that that is a title. So especially for our kiddos with visual impairments, that's important. You can do the same thing here. You can put in a subtitle, headings, and then just your normal text. So then as those screen readers work through for those kiddos, it draws the attention to those differently so that they understand that there's a title, a subtitle, and headings that are important. It's also a way you can just do that instead of having to switch your sizing and all of that. You can just apply titles to do your document setup or apply your styles rather. And then it sets it up, but it also makes it an accessible feature. Along with that, we can use our dictionary feature for our kiddos. Probably you will know about this. Oh, look, with my title, I can't. So look up dictionary here. Well, for some reason right now, my dictionary isn't working. It worked earlier for me. It's under tools, and right here's your dictionary. I don't know if it's because I'm screen sharing that it's not working or why. My apologies. I had it earlier when I was working on all of this. But it brings up a nice little area on the side with the definition of that word. So that's great for vocabulary building for our students. And the voice typing is probably the key feature that we wanted to talk about. That's in tools. Voice typing, you do have to, if it's not activated in your Google account, activate it before you can access this. But the Google microphone is pretty accurate at picking up what you're saying. I use it with my kids and they're pretty successful with it. So it is a pretty accurate microphone, and you can, you just click it And then you can start typing whatever you're typing. I have to allow my microphone, but today we're talking about assistive technology. And again, it's not going to work. Scott, is it not working because I'm screen sharing?
I think it's your internet connection a little bit.
It could be. Sorry,
There it goes.
guys. My
It worked.
internet's also slow, but
There
there
you
it
go.
did finally come up. So there you have it. But you can see it's pretty accurate. It says, but they were talking about assistive technology. And I said, today we are talking about assistive technology. So those are great options that are built right in and free also for your students to utilize to give them options for how they're doing their work. So the next one, am I still up for the next?
You are. You're muted, Dana.
Next,
There you go.
do you want to show the slide first? Or do you want me to just jump into it?
Nope, I got it.
The next one we want to talk about is Read and Write for Google. And this one, teachers can have a free account for. So while it is a paid subscription for individual students, as an educator, you can have a free account. There's also features of it that remain free for everybody after like the trial period runs out. But the best features, of course, are in the paid section. So just so you're aware that you can, if you type into Google a search, Read and Write for Google for Teachers, it'll take you through the website and how you can log in, use your IU or a school district email account, and you can set that up for a full free account. So now I'm gonna, this one gives you text to speech also, it gives dictionaries also, but it also does, it does speech to text, but it also does text to speech. It does word prediction, collects highlights, creates and listen to voice notes. You can simplify and summarize. So I'm gonna start my screen share. I need you guys out of this room, please. Excuse my noise in the background, please. All right, so I'm gonna toggle now. If you see this is an extension or, that I've added on, can you guys see my little read and write? So if I open up that toolbar, it gives me all of these tool options. And this, of course, is really quick. So I'm going to come to this doggone news or Dogo news, however you want to say that. And if I bring up my toolbar again, I'm going to collect some highlights. I think this is a great tool. I'm just going to do it randomly. Actually, before I do that, let's put on the news articles.
Hold on one second. I think we're behind. There we go.
It's slow.
It's all right.
Okay. Are we good now?
Yep.
Okay. Sorry about that. So if I pull up my toolbar again, I'm trying to make my toolbar pop back up. Can you see my toolbar on your screen? Oh, it's still loading. That's the problem. You could assign it kind of a purpose. So maybe I'm going to highlight main ideas with one color, vocabulary with another color, something like that. So if I come and I highlight an area, which of course I'm just going to randomly do something here, and I missed my D, but if I highlight that, and then I could just highlight maybe some terms in a different color. The great thing about this is if I touch on this little circle with the multiple color, that's where I'm collecting my highlights. and it'll take everything I've highlighted. You can decide what colors you want to collect. I'm just going to leave them all. I only use 2 of them, but you could just pull 1 color if you only wanted, say, your yellow highlights. And it will open that into a Google Doc. The nice thing too is it gives you your link to where that came from. Of course, that D is separate because that was a separate highlight. But that way you can sort your highlights. It might help you build an outline, things like that. If you're doing research, it helps you build those. And then from here, I have to be patient and let my toolbar click back open. Sorry about that. I'm trying to be patient with it. There it is again. If you look at all the features at the top, here's where I can do prediction, my dictionary, highlight a word. I can do my dictionary. I can use a picture dictionary in this one. So if that's helpful for my students, the picture dictionary is there. If I highlight a section, here's where I can have it read to me. Although, can you hear it reading on your end?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I can pause that or stop it together. You can just grab to read something off of like a PDF screenshot reader. You can have the whole file read through these things. You can also mask your screen. So if you come back, oops, I'm sorry, I don't know where my thing went. I clicked on the wrong thing. Am I still sharing my screen with you?
No. No.
Sorry, I must have clicked stop share when I was trying to click my other tab. I want, yeah, it's not gonna let me click the tab I want. I apologize. But I can get back to the news article. There we go. And I can screen mask that way on there. That'll kind of give you just an area to draw your attention to a certain area. So that's helpful for students reading sometimes. There's a translator built in here. And here's your simplify the page. So it took out the extra pictures and things from that article. All right, so that's kind of a really fast look at Read and Write for Google, but there's a lot of tools there for both reading and writing for students that need those. Really, they're a great UDL tool for Universal Design for Learning because it gives kids more of that ability to own how they want to do things and how they want to learn. So I think, Becky, are you up next?
Yep. So now I'm going to show you our potato platter here, and that's going to be Google Keep. Has anyone, raise your hand, has anyone ever heard of Google Keep before? All right. Google Keep is like a add-on from Google, obviously, and it's a good way of capturing your thoughts wherever you are. So it's like a digital sticky note, and you can take notes and share notes, create checklists, share checklists, and you can even do audio messages and share them with your students. And it's also a great way to share reminders. I actually find this beneficial to share even with grocery shopping lists with your family members, or your husband if they're going grocery shopping, or whoever does your grocery shopping. I have linked in the presentation nutritional value right there because that gives you, it'll take you to a resource that, oh, now it's forbidden. Great. That will, I'll relink that one. It's a Matt Miller. His site right now is down, but he is the one that wrote the book, Ditch That Textbook. So he's working on getting his site back up. But he has a whole bunch of different ways that you can use Google Keep for remote learning. Again, You can color code your notes. You can create the checklists for your students. And then you can even have them recording aha moments as they're reading or, you know, taking hikes or whatnot. So in order to go to Google Keep, you can just Google Google Keep. You can also, in the Google Drive, it is one of the options right there on Keep. And then you'll come up to something like this. It also will be like in your Drive, you can save some of your documents to keep. It's a little light bulb, like right there. And what you do is you make a note. I can assign it to a person. For example, I was doing this with student teachers, so I assigned it to Camilo, and I was like, make copies, do this, highlight text. I don't know. Maybe you're making a checklist for your students. You know, sometimes students just need 3 things that they need to accomplish. Then I can share that note with whoever it is that I'm sharing it with, and they'll get it on their Google Keep. What you can do then is that you can add a label, you can add your own drawings, an audio, you can make these check boxes so that when they complete it, you get a completion. So it's basically like a Google Doc when you're collaborating, but these are like sticky notes. So you could have a keep of each class and share it with them or each student. Like I mentioned before, you can do a drawing or an image. So if you have a worksheet or something, or they're drawing images to you, they can do that as well. And just some audio voices as well. The last thing is your reminders. So you can have notes that are reminders and then set timers saying you need to have this in by so-and-so and set a reminder for it. Some of you guys, we talked about the other day with the support, you know, the support for autistic classroom, sorry, and that webinar. And we discussed, you know, some of that reward behavior. Maybe you set a reminder saying, okay, start this timer, and in 5 minutes this goes off. You can, I think, Trisha, you said some kind of cartoon, pet something. I can't remember what it was called, but that they can watch or something like that. So it could be some of your positive behavior as well. So that is Google Keep in a nutshell. But it's fairly easy once you get in there and start playing around with it. You can also attach it to your phone if you would like. And then the last thing, some to-go treats here. We have some of the cursor changes and some of the Zoom annotations. If you're doing Zoom with your students or your parents and families, you have a feature up here where you don't have it right now because we enabled it, but you can annotate. So I can write text and draw and highlight. Remember, you can share your whiteboard. And Dana, do you want to add anything about those cursor changes and color inversions?
Sure. We were just talking about that you can go into your settings of your mouse and you can change the color of your cursor and your mouse. You can make it a little bit bigger or smaller. But what we've found is when you're using Zoom, the color change comes through. So my mouse probably appeared bright green to you today, but the size change does not come through. So if you make your cursor bigger or your mouse pointer bigger, it's not going to come through that large on the Zoom screen on the opposite end. However, the color change does, so you can draw attention for your students that way.
Awesome. Yeah, and I still have my annotation on, so I need to turn that off. Okay.
Yeah. And the color inversion was just that too, that you can change like black on white, white on black, that sort of thing, if that helps draw attention and whatnot.
Yeah, great. So don't forget that we are here, so you will send our emails to you. Don't forget to come back for seconds when we offer the second helping of our Tasty Technology, Assistive Technology. And we are here to help you in whatever capacity you need. So are there any questions at this time? I see some questions in the chat. I'm guessing this is regarding Google Keep. You can record audio, but are you also able to record videos? I'm not sure with Google Keep. I can look into it if you can upload an actual like YouTube clip or video. But it would be something like you say, remember to watch YouTube clip, and you would embed in Google. Another thing that we wanted to mention, Dana and I were talking yesterday, we did focus a lot on Google today. But we will be also integrating some of Microsoft's options. They have a host of, I don't know, a variety, tons of different features as well. So if you're a Microsoft school, or if you want to even just dabble with Microsoft, there's some tools there as well. So that will be coming up as well. Any other questions? I'm going to stop share so we can all come back together.